Well, there we are. We're about 6:30. I hope everybody's doing well. Good morning, good morning, good morning, Misfits. My name is Sean Murphy. I am your head misfit, your server, your director, your bus driver sometimes, and sometimes I'm the guy standing at the corner going, hey, where'd they all go? I hope everybody's doing well. I appreciate you all being here. It is episode 469, 469th episode here on June 4th, Thursday morning. Today, the conversation is finding your own reasons. Finding your own reasons. Finding your own reasons to do what? Exactly. Just finding your own reasons. Finding a way for you to be in charge of you. Your own reasons to be happy, because you can find your own reasons to be sad. You can find your own reasons to be just about anything not happy, not in joy. You can find any reasons to be in misery. Can you find your own reasons to be in joy? In the devotional some of us have, it says the first line, it says, welcome challenging times as opportunities to trust me. Now, I know who that's talking about, and I know what this is referring to for me. But what if you were talking to you? That voice you have in your head, the way you sometimes say things to yourself, that part of you that believes in you, that part of you that stands up on a regular basis and says, not today. What if it was saying to you, that part that believes in you, welcome challenging times as opportunities to trust me. You have me beside you and you have my spirit within you. No set of circumstances is too much for you to handle. Isn't that inner voice inside of you? Now, I know this to be for myself, the Holy Spirit. But what if that voice inside of you is saying this to you? No set of circumstances is too much for you to handle. Because here's what I know. Here's what I do know. If you're sitting here today, and if you've had some challenging times in your world, those circumstances weren't enough to stop you. They sure as heck seemed like it. I know there's been many times in my day, there's been many times in my world that I didn't think there was a chance I was going to get through it. And funny how things happen. I got through it. And then you want to know the funnier thing? Y'all tell me if this has ever happened to you. You had something really difficult in your life happen. And it was a month ago, a year ago, a decade ago, but something really, really tough. And you're like, man, I don't ever want that again. I don't wish that on my worst enemy. And then all of a sudden you're facing something now. You're facing something here like right now. And you're like, man, I'd love to go back through that old thing. That thing I wouldn't wish on my enemy, man, I would. I hope that, I wish that would come back. Kind of like Les Brown in the interview that I did with him, where he was saying, come back 2019. I'm sorry I made fun of you. Can you come back, please, 2019? I'll be nice. All right. Why do we want the thing back that we said we would never want again? Because we know we got through it. This is really a time of if you start to think for yourself, if you start to decide what you're going to sound like, what you're going to feel like, if this is a time where you're going to make your own decisions, you are going to be a little bit of an outcast. And in some circles, you're going to be one hell of an outcast. But what does the word outcast mean? They cast you out. Which way is that happening? Have you ever thought about that? When somebody's called an outcast, who cast who out? Who made a decision to not be in the boat? There's a boat running around right now, and you're either in it or you're not. You're paddling it, you're not. You're being an observer, you're standing on the shore somewhere. But if you're the outcast and you're going to start standing up for yourself and say, what's right for you, We're not here to make judgments for anybody else. You've got to take care of you. And in some moments, the information, the tide turns because we hear some new information that's like, well, that's not supposed to have happened. That shouldn't have happened. And listen, if the protests and everything were not going on, we'd be having the same conversation, because there's things you've done to yourself, to your own success, that you probably shouldn't have done. Success in the 5 areas, right? Family, finance, body, mind, society. And 6th one, if you're faithful, faith. I think most of us are on the call. This idea that people have any influence is kind of peculiar. It's not people that have influence, it's groups that have influence. And it creates momentum. That's why teams, that's why organizations like our profession, MLM, me loving more, mentors leading mentors, making lasting money. I don't know. I'll probably get some flack for this because it just popped in my head. MLM, my life matters. Aren't you doing this to take care of you? There's going to be people who say no all the time. Aren't you doing this to take care of you, to help your dreams come true? Who's going to tell you today you can't succeed? Who's going to give you the pink slip on your dreams? The ability to stand with confidence, the ability to stand with assuredness, the ability to stand with a knowing that you're doing good in the world. You help one mom take care of their kids. See, that's the thing. I go down into the market, into Latin America, and I hear the stories, and team members come up to me and they tell me their stories, and they tell me what happened because they started becoming part of the team, using the products and creating some income. I got to tell you, it's a pretty amazing story. Let me just put it this way. There's few times that I'm not in tears, like all day long, sitting down doing one-on-ones, hearing the stories about what we've been able to do and who we've been able to serve. And I promise you, it's not been easy. Your business has not been easy. Have you found your own reasons? Thanks, LaToya. Go ahead and send out your gratitude messages this morning. And I'd send out more. You know, we've been saying send out 3. Well, if we're the champions, we talk to us, we say we are, send out 10. Amp it up a little. Send out 10 messages of gratitude, of joy, of peace, of love. And maybe it's just hearts. Maybe it's just hearts you send out. Maybe it is words. I can tell you this, that the idea of cure or the cause is pretty evident wherever you look today. Find your own reasons. Question, challenge everything. I hope you all challenge it, and I believe you do. You challenge everything I share with you. Is that true? Is that possible, what he's saying? Does it make any sense? What's the opposite of that? If I do the opposite actions, what's the opposite result? Some of you have been through the opposite actions. So find your own reasons. So what's a reason for you to be enjoyed today? You, the individual listening to the live on here now or the recording, if you're watching this later, what's your own reason? Because the reality is this: you do have a choice. You do have a choice to sit and watch TV or social media and say, oh my God, it's just terrible everywhere. Look around you. This is where your personal reality makes up your personality. If there's nothing going on in your home, in the chair right next to you, that's your personal reality. But if you're emotionally charged because of what's going on a screen, that's your personal reality. In order for this to change, something's got to change. Latoya shared yesterday, she said, I'd be out on the front lines. I'd be standing there in quiet protest. And maybe years ago, not so quiet protest. Can you stand in your own chair, in your own room right now and stand up for yourself? This is the change of energy that makes the difference. Can you be your own voice? This is addiction to approval. This is where it comes out in spades. This is where it comes out in strength. Can you stand up for you? Can you find your own reasons to be true to you? Latoya, I see your hand up.
Oh, yes. You said it. You hit around the nail. I was about to say that's addiction to approval. You just a few seconds before me.
And it is, and we don't see it because it's an addiction. How many addicts go around going, yeah, man, I'm addicted. I'm going to get help on Tuesday.
Right.
The mind sets up a way for it to just absolutely not agree with anybody. And then you add to it the amygdala and all of the things at a chemical level. It's insane. I mean, the trainings on human nature that will come from the videos of watching all of this. I know there's professors who are wishing they had electrodes in the brains of people to see which parts of the brains were triggering. They know it, but to see it happening wildly, instantly, having people come out of those situations and put them in fMRIs and see what part of their brains are lit up. What's your reason to succeed today? And it's not a why. It's not the why. It's the fact. What is a reason for you to succeed today? Because failure is not an option. Because lack is not an option. Because what's happening in social media is not an option. Listen, here's the thing. We have found ways to engage people without engaging people. What can you do with your prospect? What kind of a conversation do you think you'd have with your prospect right now? Now, some of you that are in international markets, the conversation could be about, you see what those idiots in the US are doing? You see how it's about time they had their comeuppance, right? Because internationally, we're not always the most liked country. I know that just from my travels. Now, that may have changed in the last 6 years that I haven't been doing so much international travel, but I doubt it. So now the conversation is about what's happening here and how it's about time they had a little an adjustment in the U.S. Things aren't so wonderful, peachy keen in the U.S. I'm sure there's people that are having prospecting conversations about their business, and these conversations come up. I'm not saying you can avoid it. I'm saying don't let it be the reason for your success or failure. You know, all of a sudden, I don't hear people talking and screaming about COVID and screaming about social distancing. Topics take over, and storylines take over. I don't see the media complaining that people are standing within 2 feet of each other. Isn't it funny how they're not telling all of the people who are protesting you should stay 6 feet apart? I don't hear the media talking about that. I don't know that they should be talking about that. And time will, yeah, and they weren't even wearing masks. And I would say time will tell whether that was a good choice or not when the CDC starts coming out with notes. And here's the funny thing. What if nobody gets sick? What if the numbers are still the traditional numbers? And with all of the thousands of people that were in close proximity all together, all of a sudden the numbers don't spike. What were they telling us before? So all I'm saying is that we can look at all of this and we can wait on statistics, or you can decide to take action now. What actions can you take today to take care of your family, to make sure your family is safe, to make sure your future is in the right direction? What reasons can you find today to be in a state of joy? What reasons can you find today to go talk on social media about what you're doing? You don't have to be part of the party. Some of you have heard these stories before. Sometimes when we have game nights here at the house, my bride will tell me, you can't go sit in your office. And now I love people, but there's sometimes where there's conversations that take place. I'll go sit outside on the back porch and have my Jameson Irish whiskey. And people are like, what are you doing sitting out here? Just wanted to watch the leaves grow. It's what you choose to put yourself in. It's what you choose to be around. It's what you're choosing to allow in. Yesterday we said, what do you allow? What are you allowing in? Let me let you in on a little secret on self-talk. Let me let you in on a little secret on self-talk. Everything that's ever been said to you, everything you've ever been said has been recorded in your brain. That which you repeat on a regular basis becomes permanent. Even if you're not saying it and you're listening to the news, do you think you've heard the same thing over and 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 over again? That's being repeated to you. Why do you think they repeat it to you? It's called programming. It's called programming. Television programming, news programming, the program director. What programming are you in charge of your own programming? Are you listening to Wallace D. Wattles, Napoleon Hill, How to Win Friends, Influence People, Outwitting the Devil? What are you programming yourself? You get on this call, you get on Nano's call, you get some great programming, a couple hours of programming, and then what happens? You got another 20 hours of unprogramming. That's why I call this undevelopment. That's why I call this personal undevelopment. How do we undo what we did to ourselves from yesterday? That's why the calls are every day. How do we undo what we did to ourselves yesterday? Can you schedule? Is that a word? Can you program yourself on an hourly basis to check the direction of your ship? I have people who are my students report in on an hourly basis. Yes or no? That's all I need from them. Yes or no? Every hour that they're awake, they have to report to me. Report to themselves, but I get a copy of it. In the last hour, did you work on your vibrational energy? Even if they're at work, even when this craziness wasn't around, even more so when it's around. Students of mine report in every hour. And here's the thing. Here's why that is so important in my mentorship. The people who pay a bunch of money, that if they miss it, they're out and no refund. What? Yeah. If you're not taking care of yourself every hour, there's nothing I can do for you in a day. It becomes wildly important. Now, they may say no's. It's not that they got to be in perfect response all the time. But if we don't know where we're at, how are we going to get directions from where we're at to where we want to go? If I were to ask all of you right now, how do I get to your house? Besides some of you going, what are you coming to my house for? The first thing you would all ask me is, where are you at? And every one of you would, from where I'm at, the 65 of you would find out where I'm at, and you would give me directions to your home. Some of you, I'd have to head to an airport. Some of you, I'd have to get on the highway. Some of you I could drive to. Some of it would take a couple of days. But every one of you, the same thing that every one of you have in common now is that I'm starting at the only place I can start from. If I were to ask each of you to come to my house, I would have to ask 66 times, where are you at? I would encourage you, as you have conversations with folks today about your business, I'd ask those words, where are you at? Depending on where you are in the world. And there's emotional things happening everywhere in the world. You could ask them, hey, listen, before we get started, how are you with COVID, right? With any local things going on, places that I have conversations, hey, are you safe? Is your environment, your outside environment, is it okay? And most people I have talked to, actually everyone I've talked to, they said, yeah, I'm okay. I'm a little stressed. But it's that part of the conversation that's needed to be woven in to all of our dialogues now. All of that craziness is now part of our presentations, our conversations. Because if they're not, it just shows maybe we're out of touch. And even more so now, it's wildly important to figure out what is somebody's reasons to even having a conversation with you. Because we thought things were going to change with COVID, and they did here in the US, and now things are going to get a little bit crazier. And I don't know that it's over. This release of finding a way to be an authority, I think it's going to change. It's going to find itself. I think it's going to find itself into social media next. Not that it's not already there, but I think there's going to be a shift in photos and pictures and aggressiveness on social media. Why? Because everybody for 90 days put their authority in something for 90 years, put their authority in something they had no authority over. And in 90 days, it got taken away from them. And everybody's trying to figure out how to get it back. So here's what, so if something else is coming, if another wave is coming, here's the question. Can you be the one to stand in the wave? That's what's gonna change this industry. Right now, we're going through an unbelievable opportunity to be the ones that say no more, to be the ones that step up and serve, to be the humanity that people are looking for. In all of this craziness, do the words out of the Bible still hold true? In the world of all this craziness, do the words of Napoleon Hill still ring true? Do they ring true now more than ever? Does the Bible ring true now more than ever? Does Wallace D. Wattles' stories ring true now more than ever? T. Harv Eker, his stories ring true now more than ever? And if that's the case, there's people who got caught up in this, who got caught in the undertow of this environment, who are looking for a way out, and they're afraid to raise their hand. We see what happens when somebody stands up to the challenge, and they say no more. It stops here. They get thrown out of the way. They get bricks thrown at them. Listen, you're going to be one of those people to have bricks thrown at you, emotionally, mentally, God forbid physically, but they're going to hurt just as much. This is a time for you to really sharpen your saw, to really to find your reasons to stand tall in your shoes. So when they start coming at you with, well, why aren't you with us? I can only imagine, based upon the cross-section of individuals we have on this call, that some of you have already said, this is stupid. And people have said to you, oh, you're not with us? And some of you are going, what do you mean I'm not with you? Well, and it was because you're instantly qualified based on your skin color. What? Or you're instantly disqualified based on your skin color. Now, I don't know about you. We talk about saying that whenever you label something, that's a form of racism. Let alone just carte blanching, putting people all together in a group. Right? That's like saying, well, every Irishman's a cop or drunk. I might fit one of those. Right? Or we all love corned beef and cabbage. Here's the question for you. When can you say enough is enough? When can you be a voice that's louder than you used to be? We need you on social media. And here's the thing. Listen, Real Talk Kim, if any of you know Real Talk Kim, I love this woman. I met her in Biloxi just by chance. She was standing there at the airport, and I took a picture, and we talked, and we just became good friends real quick. We had dinner together with a whole bunch of people. It was pretty awesome. But she says something I loved, and I use it all the time. And she says, haters are just confused followers. Right? Why would they come to you and have to be hating on you? Because they're following you. Haters are just confused followers. If they hated you, listen, if I hated you, would I even be talking to you? Or am I trying to get you in my camp? That's the crazy thing. Haters are just confused followers. So you're going to wind up with some haters. You're going to wind up with some people who are trying to figure out, there's two ways. My daddy always said this. There's two ways to have the tallest building in town. Build yours bigger, or the thing most people work on and become very good at, tear everybody else's down. In this time, it's not hard to be outstanding right now, because a lot of things physically, metaphorically, emotionally, spiritually, and I don't know whether other cheese we can put in there, but buildings have been torn down and there's really not too many standing tall anymore. So you have a chance to start off with your tall building already, to be a place of refuge. And there's something that's happening right now that I can't even begin to imagine, but there's a level of stress associated with this for those that are even just watching it or having to hear it because it's in their neighborhood, or having to be a part of it because it's a part of the way things are done in the home. The TV's on and 72 different messages are coming in and you don't have any control to turn that off. Ladies, there's just a level of stress that's accumulating because of this wanting to. There's something that's a part of you that wants to give life, wants to serve and take care of, and every day you hear more and more that you can't. More and more of the things of the craziest things that people are doing, sometimes despicable. And there's a part of your DNA, there's a part of your body that says that's not right. And it is causing a toll on you. You watch the health risks, the health numbers of women in the next 6 months. You watch coronary disease, you watch migraines, you watch the things that affect that. You go to the doctor and they go, there's nothing wrong with you. Right? They don't have tests for stress. They can say you're under stress, your heart rate's a little high, your blood pressure's a little high, but they other than that, they'll give you an aspirin and send you home. You watch the numbers that come out of this. Unless there's people just like you, every one of you that are on this call, that becomes a place of refuge. That becomes a place of song, of spirit for other women just like you. And guys the same way. But we were kind of silly before and never talked about our feelings. I don't know that all of a sudden we're all going to change and jump on a horse and go, listen, I'm a little sad today. But I promise you, if you do, the world will find you. They need you. Finding your own reasons. That's the conversation today. Bukumi, I see your hand is up. Good morning, Bukumi.
Good morning, Sean. How are you?
Outstanding, my love.
Okay, I'm not gonna lie. Whew, okay. I don't want to. Okay. The last couple of days, listening to you has been. Okay, I don't want this to come out. I'm just gonna say it. Okay, the last couple of days listening to you has been like really, 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 really uncomfortable, and it was like. It's like mentally, I put a block on listening to you, because I was like, how he doesn't understand. Like, he doesn't understand the pain. He doesn't understand this. He doesn't understand this. So it was hard. It was hard for me to listen to you,
Sure.
And it was something to do. It was something to do with me. It's not much. It's not much to do with you, but it was like.
No, listen, Bukumi, we're gonna have this conversation because we need to.
Okay, fine. Okay, so I was like, oh my God, like, and it was, I really tried to like listen, and I was just finding things to distract myself because it was like, I can't listen to this. Like, he doesn't understand the pain. He doesn't know what's happening. He doesn't understand the anger. I'm trying not to cry. Oh, and I was just I was angry. If I'm being honest, I was angry. I was like, even taking notes, I couldn't take notes. Even now, I could. My hand was like shaking, taking notes, because I was like, how can he talk about it like this? Ooh. But I was like, ooh, okay. But I was like, I need to listen to the root of what he's saying, and it's not about who it's coming from. And yesterday he said something that really, really stuck with me, and that I even prayed about. It was about leaders and who's leading us in all of this, and what is the intention of what we're trying to change. Are we just trying to show our anger? Are we just trying to show our rage? Do we just want it to be chaotic so other people feel what we feel? Like, what is it that we're trying to do with this whole movement? Like, what is it that we're trying to achieve? And just those questions have just been in my head all day. Like, who is going to lead us? Because I don't want us to keep making us mistakes. I don't want us to keep making us the mistakes that we've been making for years, like for years and years and years. Like, all we do is show anger. I want there to truly be a change, like people's hearts and minds to be changed. I don't want us to just keep showing anger. There's no one's listening to our anger. I'm just listening to you. I was like, this is meant to be a safe place, and I was just so like angry. Like, I was just trying to listen, because what you are saying does have value, and it is coming from a place of love.
So Bakumi, let me ask you a question.
Oh,
Are you in a happy state or a sad state?
I don't even know the state I'm in right now. Like, I this week I've just been like spiritually, emotionally, and mentally drained. Like, I literally couldn't leave my bed for like the last couple of days. Like, I was like full of anger. I was full of disgust. Like, I was just like, just so much rage was all over me, and it was just like I couldn't move. Like, I couldn't move.
So let me share with you where I'm at right now. There's a rage that's inside of me that somebody stole you from me for the last week. Somebody stole Bakumi from me. I'm going to be very selfish in this conversation. And that's not right. Somebody stole you from the last week. Because you became immobile. Your joy couldn't be brought to the world. Your message couldn't be brought to the world. That angers me. That somebody stole your life away for the last week. That I won't stand for. That's an injustice. I can do something about that. The rest of this, marching in the street, I'm not good at that. But you sitting here and having the courage to come here and say you're angry with our conversation, we've got some emotion flowing. Now we can do something in the river. But to be some milquetoast sitting somewhere, right now, not a good solution. So I applaud you for speaking up. I'm honored that you had enough love for me to say you're pissed off at me. Pissed off at the words, pissed off at the message. I get it. I love that we're having this conversation, but I won't stand for you to be stuck in a bed anymore. I'll help you organize your anger and help you develop the message to get your words out. Do I understand the pain? Absolutely not. But folks, listen carefully. This proves we're all connected. We don't need any scientist to say what just happened shows we're all connected. And if you don't think this is affecting you, I got news for you. So Bakumi, yeah, no, I don't understand it. But do you understand it? I think the answer to that is yes. But here's what I get frustrated with is that if we're going after the problem, why does everybody else have to get sucked in? Why does breaking into stores, what justice does that do? I'm looking at it from a business side. What if that was my business? I've had some friends' businesses who no longer exist. How does that even make sense? You know what? You can't make sense of that. It happened. Joy or misery. Joy or misery works in every moment. Buddy of mine in California, beaten to almost unconsciousness. In the hospital, saying, you know what? I'm grateful to be alive. Here's my question to all of us who haven't been beaten. We've all been maybe beaten emotionally, but we haven't been beaten. Are we grateful to be alive? Can we stand up and take care of us? Bakumi, I will never understand. I can't. It's impossible for me. I get that. I'm not saying I do. But when I hear you becoming immobile for a week, that you're my family. If you haven't figured that out yet, that's not fair. You don't hurt my family that way. So the only thing I can do is help you to get your message out, to get your story out, for you to get your joy back, because it was taken from you. So where I feel I've let you down is that it was able to be taken from you. Well, why do I deserve to be joyful? Because you're a voice that needs to be heard. And being in a state of joy can still allow you to sit in sadness. Being in a state of joy that allows you to be able to be there for somebody, to be able to put your arm around somebody, physically, metaphorically, emotionally. There's other strong women your age who need somebody right now to say, you know what? I love you. It'll be okay. You're this amazing soul who had her life taken away from her for the last week. That's not right. It happened. How can we fix that? How can we get you to a place to where you can be your voice? Because Bakumi doesn't need to be silent. You don't need to be less. See, the challenge sometimes is that we get into a comparison. Well, he doesn't know my pain. You don't know mine. Well, you don't understand about this whole thing. I don't. But how many times when we hear somebody else, would we ever want to walk in their shoes? We go, no, that's okay. I'll stick with mine. Here's my question. Do you deserve to be happy?
Yeah.
Do you deserve, can you do more from a state of joy and happiness or a state of misery and paralyzation, being paralyzed?
I can do more from joy.
And here's the thing, Bakumi, listen, my daddy always said this. If we both agree on everything, we don't need one of us. I love that we can have a debate, a conversation. I love that you can share with me what you just shared with me. Do you think 5 months ago you'd ever been able to get on this call and say that to me?
No.
No, absolutely not, because there'd have been fear and you would have been afraid of lashing out. But this is what happens when friends have conversations, when people who love each other have conversations. We can literally have this talk. Sean, I don't think you understand what I'm doing. And I'll be the first one to tell you, I have no clue of the pain and the suffering. But I do know this, you in pain isn't fair to me. And I'm going to do what I can to change that. Because when you're in joy, you can do more for the world. You became a statistic. You became collateral damage in this. And my friends don't become collateral damage. You can still argue with me. You can still not like the words I'm saying, but I'd rather you do it in a place to where you have your strength and it's not out of weakness and somebody has to listen to you because, oh, well, she's sad. I need to listen to her.
I hear that.
I love you. I will listen to you. And I will defend you. And I will defend your right to say, Sean, you're an idiot. Absolutely. Tell me that. And I'll probably agree with you. But here's the good news. Because of our relationship, we were able to have this conversation. Because there's a part of you that said, okay, it's 2:30 in the afternoon. It's time to go get pissed off by Sean. You still did that. Because there's a part of you that said, I deserve more. And the core of you that was listening to this is the one that says, Bakumi deserves her joy. Because you can be a huge proponent of whatever the story is you want to share, but you can't share it when you're sitting in your bed. Listen, you can't complain unless you're willing to get up and do something. And that's what this conversation is. I want you to get up and share your story and put your voice out there. And it needs to be heard, but we need to be heard from a place of strength, not a place of weakness where everybody's like, oh, we should listen to them. They're sad. I get that, but you can get your point across a lot more in your state of strength where you deserve to be. Because right now, like I said yesterday, there's going to be, this is a moment in time in the world. Imagine if aliens came 10 billion years from now and they're dissecting the world and all of a sudden there's this huge scar in 2020 and they're like, ooh, what happened there? Man, this thing went all year long. There's like this whole black thing. What happened in 2020, 10,000 years ago, 10 billion years ago? Like we look at the ice cores and we can say what the weather was, how many tens of thousands of years ago because of the way the ice melted or snowfall fell or whatever the heck they do those. But in that scar that's 2020, there's a spark and her name is Bakumi. And Bakumi made a difference because she stood up for her and stood up for her story. We need you.
Sean, can I ask a question?
Sure. You're stepping into the ring.
So first of all, good morning or good afternoon to everyone listening. I've been feeling similar to Bakumi. So the question I wanted to ask was, I think what I'm finding so difficult is like, I get what you're saying, but like, it's so simple what you're saying, right? And so it's choosing joy or misery. And what I'm finding so difficult is that simplicity versus thinking about generational
pain and suffering.
Yeah.
Yep.
And that part just makes my like brain not want to listen to you. And it's not because like I have anything against what you're saying, because what you're saying is right and I know it in my heart. But I just...
So, Anne, didn't you just kind of deliver the what do you call it? The whole thesis of what we've been talking about for the last 469 times? I hear it in my brain, but I hear it in my heart. The brain and the heart controversy.
Yeah.
And here's the thing. Listen. This is a conversation, a dialogue.
Mm-hmm.
If everybody that's arguing and fighting right now because things haven't changed in generations, right? That's what they're saying. We've been put down for generations. What do you think all of these actions are doing again?
same thing.
Isn't it giving everybody else a reason to put down again for this generation? Because generation is 40 years.
Yeah.
And now for the next 40 years, what does everybody go? They haven't even stopped talking about the Watts riots. And they just removed a statue out of Philadelphia from a guy who was the head of the chief of police and a mayor, and they finally pulled him out from the 60s. And now they're just getting rid of some of the old stories, and now all of a sudden, what do you think everybody's going to be talking about for the next 40 years? Somebody's going to have to make a difference. What happened with Gandhi? Millions of people. And we still talk about what was able to do. We still talk about Martin Luther King, what he was able to do. Somebody's going to have to say enough is enough. And I agree, it makes no sense. But if it is generationally, what did this generation just do? Did they add to it, or did they finally step up and say no more?
Yeah.
But now for us to say, well, they deserve that, that's just keeping them generationally stuck. There's nothing we can do about that. That's their generation. You know what my generation can do? Stay in joy and love them. Listen, if twice as many people showed up with free hug t-shirts, do you think the mood might change and everybody just started hugging?
Mm-hmm.
So violence doesn't get stopped with violence. It's like you being upset and me telling you, Ann, just calm down. I don't know that Ann Poe has ever calmed down when somebody told her to calm down. And I can't tell Bakumi, listen, you're not seeing it right. Are you kidding? She'd come through that camera lens and I'd be beat up in a heartbeat. I'm not saying calm down. I'm saying get enraged. Do it in joy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Get enraged and say enough is enough. And say you're not going to stand for it anymore. And I'm going to start amassing people who are for joy and not against it.
Mm.
This happens. What we're seeing play out in the world, we're all glad it plays out in the world because it's been playing out in our own homes for centuries. And that phrase, pound of flesh, well, it's about time they're getting their comeuppance. Whoever that is, whoever this battle is against, it's about time they get their comeuppance. It's about time we got our share. Listen, if you're sitting being the observer, isn't stealing? Who should I go arrest for Bakumi being stuck in her room, for her becoming a prisoner? Who should I go arrest? Tell me, I'll go arrest him. Point a finger, I'll talk to him. They arrested this amazing soul for a week. Some of you for a week as well. But they arrested Bakumi. She became incapacitated. Who should I arrest for that? Who can we sit here and beat up and talk about and say bad things about that they kept Bakumi from being this amazing soul that we know her to be? Jim Rohn would say, don't sign up for that class. Can I move forward? Can I help Bakumi in this second? Can I help any of you in this second say, does your life matter? Because until yours does, nobody else can.
I think that's what I'm finding difficult. Putting the attention. Like, I don't know if Bakumi agrees with this, but putting the attention back on us and saying, is this us when I see a mass group of people that are hurt?
But does your hurt help theirs?
No.
Can your joy help them? From a place of lack, what can you do? Listen, I get that they hurt. Do I understand? Listen, it's a big difference between do I get their hurt and do I understand their hurt? I'm not saying I understand it. I get it. I totally get it.
Yeah.
Totally get it. But I'm not going to be the cause either. I'm going to work on being the cure. I didn't have a conversation and a debate with the Bakumi going, listen, but do you really understand it's not our fault? I didn't say it's not our fault. I said, I'm worrying about this soul who's been incapacitated. That's not right. I can only do what I can do. And you can only do what you can do.
Yeah.
Because we are all connected. And with everything that we see in the world, for somebody to become incapacitated, stuck in their bed, frustrated, aggravated, that story continues. And now it's causing another scar that I don't think needed to be there. So how well is our armor to be able to allow us to stay in joy? Yeah, but joy's not right now. Really? It's not? What are you going to do for misery?
Sean, can I add
Sure,
something
please.
to this?
Sure.
Yes. You know what? I'm glad that you bring this up and we're having this conversation because we do often avoid it to keep feeling like pulling out racist, and me just being observing and just looking at it from outside the box. And I learned that when it came to like stereotypes, all the generational stereotypes of prejudice, all this, right? Me being a Black woman, I heard this quite often, right? Black people does this, white people does that. But when it comes to conversations like this, those limitations that we've been hearing all our life, we get ready to throw it out there against somebody instead of coming to an understanding. This may go over some people's heads, but I'm talking about this from a different point of view, and to think outside the box. But Kumi, there's nothing wrong with you addressing that, because things like this does have to be addressed with different groups of people, so we could all be, understand that we all are connected. Stereotypes is nothing more than limitation that people start putting themselves in a box. And then when we hear something, they don't understand us. But the thing is, I learned that I don't need no one to understand me if I don't understand myself first. I need to understand myself first, but be understood by the people who are willing to hear me spread joy. Not everybody some people are saying right now, like, damn, so how you was gonna say that? But because I look at it from outside the box, I'm not saying you're wrong, Bakumi, for addressing it. I'm glad
she's absolutely right.
Yeah.
She's 100%
She's
right.
absolutely correct. Yeah, she absolutely is correct. And because we do need to talk about this. I think this is the thing that people avoid to try to keep from pulling racist cards, or I don't want them to think I'm this or that. But we need to do that. That will bring us more connected as human beings, as spiritual beings. And once you understand that stereotypes and all that were just limitations that we set upon ourselves after certain, so many years, when you realize that was just a low frequency view of keeping us divided. But when you get on calls like this and you realize the stereotypes and all that were just boxes that we placed ourselves in, because we heard it so many times. But when you realize you could just step outside that box and you be in a community like this, you're like, wow. All this time they always said Black people this or white people that, but why we're all so connected here? Jews are, Jews here, and Latino, we all are here. We're all different groups of people, and we having elevated conversations. So that makes you question what we've been listening to all our life has been wrong. Really though, like it's like, wow,
And
So,
Bakumi and Latoya, I'll say this to you, Latoya, because you're here in the States, and Bakumi, I'll say this to you. I'm a 54-year-old white guy. I haven't a freaking clue. When somebody says white privilege, I got to absolutely say yes. Not because I asked for it, but because I happen to be in that club. A 54-year-old white guy in Dallas, Texas. Talk about privileged. I get it. I've never, I don't know that I ever used it. I think it was probably a card I carried that nobody needed to ask me to ever to pull out to see if I'm a part of it. I get it. I get it. And if we wanted to compare pains, ain't a snowball's chance in hell I can even begin to get close.
Yeah.
Can
But
I
that's why
add to what you're saying, Sean?
That's why I went wrong. That's why I went wrong.
And so, but here's what I do know, Bakumi. I love you, and when you hurt, I hurt.
Yeah.
And I'm so, listen, I need you to hear this. I need your subconscious to hear this. I'm honored that you shared this with us, with me. I'm blessed that you had enough caring, enough, because you may look at this later in the recording and go, I can't believe I said that to Sean. I'm glad you looked at it and there was nobody else you could say it to. I'm honored it was said to me. Doesn't change my love for you in a second, because now we can have a dialogue that, guess what, that's even deeper. Yeah. It's not you're wrong, I'm right, you're wrong. It's not you're right, I'm right. It's not. This is us having a dialogue, my love. And this elevates you. I'm honored. I'm sad that it took 2 days to do it, 3 days to do it. Because now I want you to be able to do it instantly. Message me in chat going, hey, listen, I think you're a big idiot. We need to talk.
Sorry. I love you myself. Sorry.
You okay?
Yeah.
You get it, Bakumi? Yeah, Jessica, I'll get to you. Say, hang on. But Bakumi, do you hear me?
Yeah, I think it's just understanding that, I mean, I'm a Christian, so understanding that I was so much in my flesh's emotions that I forgot that I'm spirit first. And it was like this battle that we're all in, it's not a battle against races, and it's not a battle against ethnicity, and there's only one enemy. So it's just understanding that this is like, just understanding that I'm not fighting against like you, and I'm not fighting against another human being, I guess.
Here's what I am glad, though. Listen, I'm glad you were fighting against me. I'm glad I was a focal point, because here's what I know. When your pain and suffering comes to me because of what I've worked on, when it hits me, when it gets into the filter that's just outside of me, it turns into love and joy. And I hear your words. I hear your words in the way I believe they were intended. Sean, I want to help you. And in helping you, can you help me? That's all I heard. Now, that may be myopic, that may be utopian, but the reality is that we are spiritual first. We are human beings first. And here's the thing I'll say about, and I say this to Rhonda all the time when we get frustrated with society or things going on. What's that thing they always say? They'll know we're Christians by our love. So how's Bakumi feeling?
I feel like I've released a lot that was like holding me back.
It was
grateful,
and that's the part that I'm grateful for, that we got to be able to take some of that. And it didn't show up in more. We didn't get into a comparison contest.
Yeah.
So I love you. Know that you're always in my heart. And this is where this dialogue that we just had is very, very rare. because you deserve to be heard, Bakumi. You deserve to be out of pain. You can still be frustrated. You can still be working towards a goal. That's what drives us. But to be in pain and to be immobilized and to be silenced, that's not fair to the world. And I won't put up with that. So, I love you.
Thank you so much, and I love you too, honestly. Thank you.
Your voice is very important to the world. It's very important to me and everybody else on this call. I'm speaking very selfishly. Because when my family hurts, it hurts me. I love you, girl. And listen, please come here. When you have that, when that shows up, share it. When that shows up and you need to say something, share something, show up. Just like you did today. You have no idea how much in joy I am that you could say that with me and to me. You have no idea how honored I am to have a place in your world that I can influence and affect you in that way. I'd rather influence than affect the way it has the last week. But look at how you've adjusted, and look at how you've changed the world simply in this conversation by standing up and going, Sean, I don't understand. I need to hear it. I want to help, but I can't listen to you anymore. I got to stand up for me. That's what you did. And I'm honored that you did that. And we need to do that. Because you know what, Bakumi, you can now listen to other people who are in that state and listen to them. You can now hear the process that you just went through. You can hear it in hundreds of other people, even today. And you get to sit in love. So you have just absolutely catapulted yourself to another level of mentorship for those around you. I love watching you grow. I love watching you take your place.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Sean.
Bakumi, I'll take the gratitude. I'll take the thanks. But honestly, you need to be thanking you.
Thank you, Bakumi.
Because what you did is beyond words. Because you did stand up. You were wanting to break the generational curse. You did stand up. Let's just look at it metaphorically. Let's just take a snapshot of this picture. Young, strong, black woman telling a 54-year-old white guy, hey, knucklehead, I think you're being a jerk. I don't think that, because that would have been different from everything else, but I need to get clear on something. And you did that. You stood up. I need you to hear that. You stood up and said, I don't agree with what's going on. I'm not clear. Because you know how easy it would have been to not click join this morning? Right? You know how easy it would have been, so easy to not click join yesterday morning? Let alone today? So I would encourage you, as you sit in your quiet and in your meditation, what made me go through that pain? What made me get so uncomfortable with somebody who I kind of respect and thought was pretty cool, but now I think he's gone around the bend in his white privilege, whatever the story is, but just listen to it. And then see, how did we get to here, to where we're family? Because we will have discussions. It's, can we hear each other enough to get through the discussion? So thank you for being strong. Thank you for helping me get better today.
Yeah.
RBP, anything you'd like to share to Bukumi? And then we're going to go to Jessica.
Yeah, first of all, can you make me a host again? I think there's some people trying to get in, and I haven't been able to let them in.
Okay, I forgot to make you that. Yep.
That's okay. I got kicked off a minute ago. Bukumi, you're amazing. Like, you're amazing.
If Bukumi stood up with the way she did this morning, this whole thing would end in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Because of what you did today. I swear to God, I know you don't see it, but what you did today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's totally, and this is the scripture that comes to mind for me when you speak, Bukumi, and it's 1 John 4:18. It says, there is no fear in love, but perfect love drives out fear, because fear has to do with punishment. The one who fears is not made perfect in love. And because of the place, and this is really key, because of the place Sean provided, a place of unity, a place where no matter what, we can come, and he sits in love. You were able to arrive however you needed to arrive. And Sean was able to sit in love, and this is what doesn't usually happen. He was able to sit in love and hear his family in whatever emotion they were sitting in and still love them, because fear has no place in his family, and fear has no place in his love for you. And he can allow you to arrive confused and hurt and frustrated and angered and whatever emotion that you have. That, listen, all truth be told, you're talking to two white people. I get it. I get it. I sit over here with Sean and I'm like, I get it. So you made me ask myself the questions of, can I provide a place like this for Bukumi to show up? For all my other friends of color, can I provide a place where they can come and they can express their emotions and their thoughts and their feelings, and I can sit in love and love them? Because if we call ourselves Christians and we abide by the words, that scripture I just read, perfect love drives out fear. Can I sit in perfect love and still arrive at a place where I can hear my sister and I can love her? And what you just did, that's like Bukumi for president right there. Like, you don't understand. That spans the ages. There's no age limit on the wisdom that you just showed and walked through. And that's so admirable. I have notes over here. Do I have the courage like Bukumi to address a hot issue in order to learn more and relieve my pain? That's huge. That's huge. And as a woman with a white man, not just man to man, but as a woman of color and as a woman, what you did and the way you did it, and with the emotions you allowed us to see in you, that was unbelievable. And it's my question from that, and Sean addressed it, is who or what sets us on different sides or sets us as enemies? And Sean hit this, and this is why we're back together. This is why he unified us. This is what Place of Unity is. Sean called out what sets us apart, and it's not our skin color. What sets us apart is an enemy that comes between us as human beings. It's not genitalia that sets us apart. It's not color that sets us apart. It's an enemy trying to break down the human race so we can't love each other, and we can't be there for each other, and we can't support each other. That's why perfect love, not perfect love between two women or two men, It's perfect love drives out fear. And Bakumi, you gave a place for perfect love to arrive. And you sat, more importantly, you sat in perfect love. Because if you didn't, you would have never joined this call. And if you didn't, if you didn't sit in perfect love, you would have never spoke to a privileged white man sitting in Texas. And you did. And it's because you have love so deep inside of you that you were willing to stand up in a way most people couldn't. Because see, you showed up, and yeah, you had some hot emotions, but you were willing to speak them in a safe place to try to gain more understanding or to try to provide more understanding. And that's huge. You have me over here. I asked myself, can I be someone's focal point of frustration so we can help each other? That's a hard question. Think of that question. Sean sat here and let you be, he was your focal point. He was kind of your target, so to speak. And it's fine. That's what honest love, pure love should be able to do. I'm over here asking myself, Bakumi, can I do that for Bakumi? Like, am I capable of that? But listen to the questions you're eliciting. You're not eliciting equality questions. You're not eliciting fear questions. You're eliciting questions of growth. And can I arrive the way God's asked me to arrive? And can I remain the way God's asked me to remain? In a strength that's supernatural. In a place that's supernatural. And when you're in the supernatural, you're just spirit. And then the other thing I ask myself is, can I hear people when they speak in anger or frustration or a hot emotion? And me remain in love and bring them a chance to release fear, anger, doubt, and frustration and come back to a place of joy. Because I'm going to tell you right now, that's a hard place to be. And Sean has done an amazing job of simply voicing and listening and allowing you the emotions you needed to express. And then I got to give a nod to you again, Bakumi, because you didn't care who you were talking to. You stood in complete confidence and courage, and you spoke your heart, and you got it out, and you got out of your own way, and you let love come rushing back in, and you let joy come rushing back in. And one of the moments when it was kind of hot and heavy, there sounded like there was a mockingbird with you, and it was just screaming in the background. I don't know if anybody else heard that.
I was just listening all the time.
Was screaming. And I thought, oh my gosh, she's so strong. She changes the birds around her, because they're usually chirping, and they were screaming with you. And but get that all of God's creation is so intertwined and connected that when we sit in joy, you changed the energy of the animals around you. Imagine the effect of being in that kind of place of joy and love in a mob setting around a mass group of people. And the energy you just showed, it vibrated through the whole area you're in, into East Texas, and into every other place that's sitting on this phone. I'm for what it's worth, I'm super proud of you. And you're woman crush worthy. Like, wow. Thank you for arriving today. Thank you for being a female courage icon for me. Because there's times, even right now, when Sean and I are in our business together, that I have to go, all right, Sean, I got to address something. And, I'm a little nervous to address it. I still address it, but the way you did it.
Thanks,
Wow.
Bakumi. Now you just got her all fired up.
Yeah, girl.
and I want to be and I want to make something, because it keeps ringing in my head. Bakumi, I still can't even begin to comprehend the pain
No.
that you sit in. Don't. I hope nobody thinks that because we're speaking again, that we're in joy with each other again, that I understand. There's not a snowball's chance in hell I'll ever begin to understand. I can't even, 1,000 lifetimes I'd still never get to understand, because it's more than 1,000 lifetimes. I get that. But what I do want you to know is that I want you to be in joy so that I can help you remedy that. And that's why I sit here. That by no means does this alliance that we now have back together minimize any pain or any generational challenges that only you know about. I couldn't even begin to have a clue. But what I do know is, generationally going forward, I want to be there for you to stand on my shoulders, and for me sometimes to stand on yours, for help and peace and love and joy. So just, yeah, I wanted to make that clear. And look, here come the birds back again.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Woo. Thank you, guys. Thank you, Rhonda. I love you, Rhonda. I love you, Sean.
I love you.
Thank you for having. Thank you for this place, and thank you everyone on the call as well for just letting me cry.
And listen, there's a good chance you gave some freedom to others as well, because there's no doubt that was lingering and may still be lingering for some. Let's go to Michelle. Hey, Michelle.
Morning, guys. Bakumi, thank you for bringing this up. My best friend of over 20 years is Black, and living in the city. We'd go shopping together, whatever, go out to eat, nothing, it was no big deal. And I now live where my parents grew up, in a rural area. Well, when I was still living in the city, I mean, she comes to my house, I go to her house, we all go to each other's cookouts. But when I brought her here to predominantly, well, maybe one or two Blacks are here from time to time, I got a taste of it. And I say just a taste. And I'm glad Brittany asked, what's the difference of getting it and understanding it? I think it's more of an empathy of getting it. We feel your pain, but we will never, ever understand it. But back to bringing her here to a white community, the looks, even when she was around my family members, I picked up on so much, and it hurt. I'm like, she is my best friend. She is like, she would lay her life down for me, and my own family is looking at her different. She loves me more than some of them do. And this is tough. She and I just don't talk when stuff like this goes on. And I'm glad Bukimi brought this up, because she and I need to. She knows I love her to death, and I would lay my life down for her, and vice versa. But I don't know, and I was hoping LaToya would still be on here, but I know Brittany is. And how do I start this conversation with her? And I'll be honest with you guys, I did not realize how privileged I was as a white woman until all this happened in the last week. Never realized it. And I've been friends with a Black woman for over 20 years. But maybe Brittany can chime in. How do I start this conversation like Bukimi did to clear the air? Because there has to be some underlying animosity, possibly. There's something there because we just don't talk about it. You know what I mean? We just don't conversate as much. Do I do what Bukimi did? Just blurt it out?
Brittany, do you want to say anything?
Sorry. I don't know if I have the answer to that. But the first step would be to come to the realization that that disconnect is there. Right?
Right.
And, you know, it's unfortunate that you have been in this space with someone, so close to someone for so long, while also existing in an entirely different space at the same time.
Exactly.
And to be so close to her, yet be
So far away.
blind, yeah, to the things that she deals with. And
Well, I mean, I know what she deals with. I mean, I know what she goes through, but we've just never had the black white. We've joked about it a lot, but we've just never had a conversation per se. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, that definitely makes sense. And it makes me want to bring up the empathy versus sympathy, right? Because in some ways, people can sympathize with what's going on because at the end of the day, we are all human, right? And no one wants to be treated poorly in any kind of way, right? But on the other hand, you know, as a white woman, you wouldn't be able to empathize with Black women because there are things that you just will never experience or have to experience.
Well, like when I brought her to a family cookout and I saw people looking at her and, you know, whatever, I will never know what she actually felt. Like I can never feel that, you know, but I saw it and I had pain for her. Does that make sense?
Right. So I think it's important to show your willingness to understand versus get it would be to just actually ask her how she feels. How does this make you feel? Because I love you, right? But when I bring you around my family may look at you in a way that makes you uncomfortable. How does that make you feel? You know, I was just learning something the other day on Mornings with Nano, and he was talking about a fear of conflict. And because of that fear of conflict, there are things that are left unsaid, and they are built upon and harbored within someone. And eventually it causes a great big conflict, you know, because of that.
And I kind of think that's where she and I both are at, you know, because you can been best friends for 20 years. You sense each other, you know, and we don't want anything to happen to our relationship. So we just avoid it totally, you know?
And, you know, not even just on the side of race or ethnicity, but just kind of what we've been discussing today and something that I've been dealing with in my own personal life, that it feels good and comforting to be able to have a relationship that is a safe space with someone else, where you are even allowed to state how you feel without the fear of backlash or the fear of being shamed or the fear of being snuffed out and unheard.
Exactly.
So if you guys have that conversation, you know what I'm saying? Just ask, like, hey, we have been friends for so long, and I just realized that I am in a place within the world that you may never be able to, that you've never experienced and you may never be able to experience. How can I, or what can you tell me or share with me within your comfortability that will help me or help our relationship to become closer so that I can become an advocate, not only for you, but her family and her children?
Exactly. You nailed it right there. Because I don't know what to do. I mean, I'm a white woman, privileged white woman. I have no idea what to do. And I guess I just always felt I should know what to do. You know what I mean? Like, why do I not know what to do?
Well, you don't know what to do because you never had to do it,
Well, very true, very true. I don't know what I don't know,
Yeah,
but it
yeah. So
hurts.
it's like,
I mean, I feel helpless, and it hurts to just sit here
mm-hmm.
knowing she's in this pain and being bothered by all this, and has been all of her life.
Exactly. Yeah. So
I appreciate that, Brittany. So I mean, I just need to do like Bukimi did and bring it up and talk it out. So,
ask her, or ask people on the internet. As a white privileged woman, because I've been seeing it all over, white people are like, how can I use my privilege, my pedestal, or, I'm saying my place in society to do things that you cannot? Because we've seen it so many times throughout history. What we're experiencing right now was nothing new. There's nothing new under the sun, right? So if you go out to do what I'm doing, you would be getting treated or something else. You have a different ending than I would. So how can I take everything that I have, not even understanding the full capacity of what it is that I have, to go out there and be your voice, because you can't be your voice without being silenced immediately.
That makes total sense. You nailed it on the head for me for what I needed to hear. Thank you. That resonates highly. Thank you, Brittany.
You're welcome. Thank you. My pleasure.
Here's a couple of things I just took from that. One, Brittany, thank you for your place of strength and clarity. There's something else I'm going to ask all of you to do for me. Everybody that's here is I'm starting a series called 52 Scars. And it's the scars we carry. Just like when Evelyn the other day said, my mother said I was so incompetent that I couldn't even die well because I would eat the candles. That made it to one of the 52 scars. That's going to be a message. And these are weekly messages that go out. And it may be 105 scars, but I would ask everybody that's here, what's a scar that you carry that the world needs to know how to deal with, that you've overcome? And I'd love to have a dialogue on that. And you're the one that gets the credit of it. And you're the one that we've talked about in the message, because I think we need to expose these things. So if you have something that has been on your heart, that is something that you've carried, that's been a scar you've had to keep quiet. I think this is a global conversation, and for damn sure, a 54-year-old white guy doesn't need to be the one directing it all, because my scars are sometimes scratches. So I would love for you to email me to have a conversation, because that's now on my homepage, SeanGMurphy.com. That's the thing that I'm wanting people to sign up for. Right? Just little things like that. Send them to me on Instagram. Let's talk about it so that we can talk about what it is, because they're not just 2 paragraphs, these emails. They're a training. What the scar is, how it showed up, what you've done to deal with it, and how other people can leverage that lesson to make their life a little bit better, for you to be the Bukumi of today, and say, I'm not comfortable with this, but here's how we get comfortable. So I'd love for you to all participate in that with me. And let me share that scar that you have, that you've had to deal with, if you're willing to. So, pretty powerful. I can't even begin to imagine. I don't know that you might be able to imagine the honor that I have to sit with all of you today, to sit with this community, to sit with this group, and to be allowed to be a part of it. Listen, let's be very clear. I click the start button. You all show up. You all let me be a part of you. This ain't the other way around. Let's be very, very clear. You allow me to be a part of your life because you're the ones that show up. This is a volunteer army. You show up. And I'm just in awe every single day. So, RBP, and Daniela, I see your hand went up.
Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you today?
Outstanding, my love.
Wow, I just came in like right at the end of everybody's conversation and I was like blown away. I don't even know what to say, to be honest. But I haven't been on here in a while, probably like 2 weeks. I think I've been hopping in and on. And yesterday, I finally understood why. And it wasn't even by myself the reason why I understood why I wasn't on here. It definitely had something to do with Kevin asking me.
Whatever you're saying, we can't hear.
Can you hear me now?
Now we can hear you.
Wait. Can you hear me now?
Yes, can hear you perfectly.
Okay. So I didn't even fully understand. Hold on 1 second. Ooh, how do I? There we go. 2, 8. Okay, well, I don't even know how to get my phone number right.
We hear you.
Right?
Perfectly.
I'm trying to drop my son off at his daycare, and I completely just forgot my own phone number.
Are we outside right now? No.
We're back there. Sign in. All right, I love you. Have a good day.
Bye, Mateo.
He says bye. So I really didn't understand why I wasn't coming. Like I did, I was giving more of excuses than the actual real reason why I wasn't coming. So Kevin yesterday goes, we're on our way home from dinner, and he goes, Daniela, how come you haven't how come you're not waking up and doing your morning calls? I'm like, what are you talking about? I'm like, I'm just so tired, and I'm like, I'm exhausted from my days, everything, like the business is booming, and I'm kind of like wanting it to stop. Like I'm overwhelmed. I just want to sleep in. And he's like, well, have you noticed how different your attitude is since you've stopped?
Yeah, you needed him to remind you.
I was
like that's gonna help.
I was like, what do you mean? I like went on defense mode right away.
I thought Kevin was smarter than that.
I was like, excuse you? He's like, I'm not trying to be the bad guy here. I was like, well, I don't know what you're trying to tell me. He's like, exactly what you're doing right now. I said, what am I doing? He's like, you just snapped on me for no reason. I said, no, I didn't. I'm like, why are you telling me that my whole mood has changed and you're telling me that I'm not? He's like, Daniela, sit back and think about how you've acted in the past 2 weeks. And I'm like, okay. I noticed that not only was I snapping at him, but I was snapping at Mateo for nothing. He's like, I hate to be like the one who tells you. He's like, but business women don't act the way you do. I was like, oh.
Is he still alive?
He's still alive. I was like, excuse you? He's like, Daniela, he's like, nobody else is going to tell you, but I'm going to tell you. And I'm like, why is everybody mean to me? Why can't anybody just tell me in a nice way? He's like, because nice way doesn't work with you. You don't listen. And I'm like, okay. He's like, what happened to you waking up at 6:30, having your mornings, having your coffee, doing your morning call with Sean, and then going on with your day? He's like, you were being more productive than you are now. And I'm like, okay. I'm like, I don't know. I don't know why. I was busy. He's like, no. He's like, I understand you were busy and like month end was happening and a lot of things are happening, but he's like, you stopped making time for yourself. And I was like, bicycles, I'm going back to my old ways.
Bicycles.
I was like completely like in no words. I had nothing to say back to him. I couldn't even argue with him. Even the fact of how he talked to me, I was like, I guess you're right. Like, I don't know.
And so today?
I came on late and I missed everything.
Well, but see, no, you didn't. You only missed what you weren't here for.
Yeah.
And now that you're here, what have you missed since you've been here?
Nothing.
So then why are you beating yourself up for what you weren't here for?
I don't know.
That's the old story. So can I say, hey, Daniela, I love you. It's good to have you here.
I love you too, Sean. Thanks for having me back.
You never left. You never left to us. See, that's the story. See, it takes two for that to become true. Well, it doesn't really, but it takes one more to confirm it. But you never left us.
I know.
Well, I'm just saying, I don't want you to beat yourself up. And you didn't miss anything because it's recorded. You could go back and listen to it if you wanted to, but you don't have to. What you were here for, you showed up for. This is where we miss the present.
Okay.
Okay. I feel like you're big brother. Okay.
Okay. I want to smack you. It's okay.
Bicycles. Listen, you showed up at the perfect time because guess what we got to experience that we would have never experienced any other moment?
What?
Saying goodbye to Mateo.
Oh, yeah. True.
See, that was a joyous moment for me.
He's like, yesterday, he's like, Mom, can I turn the camera on? I just want to stand there and like wave to everybody. I was like, sure, buddy. Go ahead. And he's like, Sean noticed I was on there and he said my name. I was like, yeah, he did.
and listen, Mateo's pretty sharp because I see Daniela and I recognize you and I'm going to say your name.
Yeah.
Kid's a genius. I'd pay attention to him.
Yes, I don't know who he gets it from, to be honest. Oh. I don't know. I keep hearing everything good around me and like Evelyn. I'm actually in contact with Evelyn and I was like super excited. I have a new friend. Yay.
Yay.
Because like my circle's small and I don't really allow people in that often, but I like
shocking. I find that so hard to believe.
I bet.
It's like, come on into Daniela's house. Or Daniela's friendship. There's a gauntlet, there's a river, and then the River Thames, and then you got to cross the channel. And then once you get through all of that, then we're going to have a firing squad to see if you can dodge bullets like the Matrix. I've been waiting on you. What took you so long to get your ass over here? You have no idea what I had to go through.
Oh, yeah. I don't know. I've just been hurt way too many times by too many people, so I pay attention.
Sure. Listen, I get it.
I don't just allow anybody to be around me, and especially in my home. I think I only allow like 2-3 people in my house.
Yep. And that's
Outside of my
rightfully
family.
so. Yep.
Like, I just don't ever since, like, I've had so much bad. I feel like even though somebody sits in front of you and smiles and everything, they bring bad energy. And I felt it. I felt it on my son. And Elizabeth knows what I've been through. Oh, Lord. When it comes to that. And I had my whole house, like, blessed. And I went through a lot. So I stopped letting people in.
Yep. Okay, get it. So I would encourage you a Brene Brown book, any one of her books, because the wisdom speaks through all of it. Be able to have that soft front, but have the iron back, the iron will. But it's in the soft front that there might be people who would be in great service to you that aren't strong enough to get through the gauntlet.
I see.
And that's a process. And that's where your female discernment comes in. Look at Sean. He's used like 12 words that are polysyllabic this morning. It's crazy.
I know. You're on a roll.
I'm like butter, baby. I'm on a roll. We were in a very high tense meeting with I was the youngest member to a distributor advisory council for a global company. And we were in a meeting, and this guy who was like he's like the grand poobah of this advisory council, the DAC. His name was John. I'll think of his last name in a second. And the owner of the company was just going off on a rant, and I leaned over to him, John Gilbertson. I leaned over to him and I whispered in his ear. I go, "Man, he's like butter." And he looks at me, and I lean back and I go, "Yeah, he's on a roll." And he almost got him fired. He let out a laugh because he's from Minnesota, and he let out that Norwegian laugh. Anyways, every time I say that, I think I almost getting John Gilbertson fired. He goes, "Ha, ha, ha!" And Jim Chesterton goes, "John, do you have something to say?" And I just look straight forward.
No.
Anyways. Well, Daniela, I'm glad you're back, my love.
Well,
and I'm glad to hear you. I'm glad that we got to say goodbye to Mateo and wish him off to school today, to daycare. And listen, I'm just so honored to have all of you here.
Super excited to be back.
Yeah, I bet.
I'm sorry. I think it cut off.
No, you're good. He said he's super excited to be back.
Yeah. I mean, even though there's not like all the kids are back, but there's only certain kids that are back. And he's like, "I don't care, Mom. I got to play with all the kids. I got to meet new people." He's a social butterfly.
Mm-hmm. Where does he get that from?
His mom used to be like that.
Oh, well, I appreciate you, my love. RBP, any wrapping up words? And before you do that, I got to say again, Samantha Willie, I love your giggle. Your whole body giggles when you giggle, and your smile, and you slide off a camera. But look at that. Look at those shoulders just a-going. It brings me so much joy. You remind me of Les Brown. Les Brown, when he laughs, his whole body, he's like Santa in a big full of he's the picture of humor and picture of joy. So Samantha, just thanks for being here. RBP, great to have you here. Let's wrap this up, my love.
So what comes to mind is I'm sitting here listening to everybody. May we all have the eyes of God to see the hearts of the others and to feel what they feel and remain in a place of love so they can walk through what they need to walk through. And may God grant us people in our lives to look at us the same way and see our hearts and be there for us as we walk through what we need to walk through. And let us all walk through it briskly and quickly. Because the old phrase, when you're in hell, don't stop going. Just keep moving. Keep moving through it. And my prayer is for each one of y'all to be lifted up and to be raised up. You strive for more. You stretch your brain and you encompass more of what God has you to see and feel than most people. And may you be a beacon of light, his light, to everybody that's around you. May even in the hardest times, you give a smile, even when it's a struggle to smile. Let it come from your heart. And even if it's through tears, let it be a smile that'll penetrate the world and penetrate those around you, and let them know that there is a chance for hope and love no matter what's going on. And like Brittany said, there's nothing new under the sun. The world has seen times and hard times and troubles like this before. Let us learn from that, gain from that, and realize walking in love and walking in peace and walking in choosing joy, we can influence others and hopefully take them out of their anger, or lead them out of their anger, or be a beacon, a lighthouse out of their anger. So I'm praying for every one of y'all. I'm praying for your safety. I'm praying for your family's safety. I'm praying for blessings to fall all over you and your family and your household, and let it be so amazing that it just seeps out and goes to everybody that's near you, around you, connected to you. And know that I'll be praying. I'll constantly be praying. I don't stop praying. Even when I'm frustrated, I think I pray more. And if I can help in any way, or if I can speak to you in any way, let me know. I'm happy to do so. And thank you for giving me a place to love you and to send love around the world instead of just sitting in East Texas. Thank you for a place to arrive. Thank you for a place to where I can love every gender, every ethnicity, every walk of life. You bless me. Your stories bless me. Your faces, your smiles, your tears, they bless me. And I'm grateful for you, and I love you. And Sean, thank you for giving us a place to arrive, a place for unity, and a place for love, and learning how to choose joy quicker. And some of us just learning how to choose joy. So I love you. I love you all.
Well, what else can you say other than that? So from this band of misfits, I'm honored. I appreciate you. I'm kind of your head misfit. I'll see y'all where? At the next event. Y'all send some love to each other.
I love y'all.
I love you guys.
Thank
you.
Have a
Love
great
you guys.
Thank you, Sean. Thank you, guys.
Thank you so much.
Love everybody. Everybody have a good day.
Thank you
Love
guys. Have a
y'all.
great day. Love you all.
Love you. Bye.
Yeah. Spread those smiles. Love y'all.
Love you guys. Have a great day. Love you.
Bye, Shimmy.
Bye.